Hi, it's Faceless Tech. I had a kind of a weird request the other day. Well, it wasn't really a request. Someone I normally go on the Game Boy Macro subreddit. I come across a post where, because not many people post that often on there. Someone posted a post saying, could you have the A and B buttons be the B and Y button? And I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. And then I asked them a few questions like, what do you want? They said Game Boy Macro XL. I was like, great. A few of them hanging around. And I thought, yeah, what I'll do is just desolder the dome because they have like the springy dome buttons. I'll desolder them. I've got some other kind of similar ones, so desolder them, wire it up, showed it on, a little quick demo of it. The kid didn't like the clickiness. I kind of did agree with it because the clickiness wasn't consistent with the D-pad. It kind of sounded like really too clicky, and it would kind of get a bit annoying whilst you're playing it. I threw around a few other ideas, and they suggested, oh, maybe go with just a Game Boy Macro. And I said, yeah, that'd probably be a better idea because you got silicone carbon buttons. So I thought, yeah, that could work. I had one just laying around. So I had this board, which was one I've destroyed, trying to make a DMG 103. But we won't go there. So what I did was I sanded off the because on the other side I had like this white um, solder mask layer. So I sanded off some of the other solder mask to expose the traces so I can have a good look at where the traces go, because I was going to have to cut and solder some other traces and stuff on the board. I did the mod, but then I also kind of, whilst I was doing it, I was like, oh, I found an easier way of doing it. So I can't really show you through the microscope, which I've been using. So I'll go Big Clive on you, and I printed some off. So what we've got here is the D button, D-pad, the D button down here. As you can see, there it is. This is the test point for the B button. Sorry, for the B button. You can see as it goes round here, both two sides are the button, and then these other two go to ground. It's just a common ground type of setup. So what also around here is the A. These lead to the A button. These lead up round, similar to there, round up to the A button. So we've got the test pad for the A button, and then we've got the test pad for the B button. And then if you look over this one, nope, this one is this way up. So we've got the B button here, and then we've got the Y button here. This is the test pad thing for the Y button. This is the test pad that I've shown you there for the B button. You can see similar. It's just a different. I couldn't get it all on in the microscope. So basically, what I do is for the B button, it's quite simple. We've got a test because we're going to convert it to the A button. So we've got the A button test pad, and we're going to solder. I soldered some solid core wire that just went round here, went from there point to point. That's it. That job's done. The harder job was, if you can see, the B button. It comes off here where the trace is. You can't really see it because there's a bit of solder mask here, so it kind of blends in. But it goes around here, and then it cuts past this bit, and then it goes off to the CPU. So what you want to do is chop the trace somewhere along here. It doesn't really matter as long as this is no longer talking to this part. Chop the trace, remove some of the solder mask. That's kind of where this arrow is pointing, and then you can just bridge across there because it basically chops the B button. The B button is now getting wired from the A button. Sorry, the A button. The B button leads into the A button test pad, which also leads into the A button that goes to the CPU. So that, and then that basically just solder. You probably just be able to bridge it with a bit of blob of solder because it's that close. All you do is scratch it off with, like, I've just got a razor blade, Stanley knife blade holder, and I just chop it, and then you just basically gently just pull it back, and then you just solder across because that is tiny. That is tiny. You think it looks massive there, but it is actually tiny. With the Y button also, you're going to have to break the trace, going back to the GPIO on the CPU. As you can see, luckily the trace is just here. So I'd probably just break it somewhere up here, just give it a quick cut with the knife. Even maybe just scrape off a bit of the copper, do a continuity test between the two and make sure there is no severed connection. Otherwise you're going to get a B button press and a Y button press, which is no good, obviously. You probably could, I wouldn't say you'd probably get away with this without a microscope because you kind of want maybe even a pair of, I've been using these, my wife's magnifying glasses, which are quite good if you haven't. But literally the microscope I use is a like £12 microscope off AliExpress, just a USB one with like a light, as like a light around it. It's quite nice on the lens of it. And that's it really. You solder that across, because the A button's still fully functional, the X button's fully functional. But also I did was a request as well, was to make the A and B buttons but have them in the correct orientation, so that because otherwise if I basically 3D printed this case, this shell, which I also added a front facing switch speaker to. But that was a bit of a nightmare, but I had to mess around with layers and stuff. As you can see, I had to cut out some of the front of the case to get the fit. But as you can see, I had the buttons are at like a weird angle. They all point at normally, and like that's the A button normally has the little nudger, points that way. The B button normally points that way, and then that one points that way, and then that one points that way. So I had to take the same angle from here, put it onto here, and then the angle from here to put it onto here, so that they orientated the right way. So that's quite. It's the joys of having your own custom Game Boy Macros faceplate. You can just play around with it instead of relying on someone else to make your own. And then that was it really. This one I did actually snap a screw post whilst putting it together. That's why I've got this one. And then I just finished it off with one of the glass screen protector lenses, which are nice. It's a nice touch. And yeah, so I'll be sending this off later today to the for the commission. I just had a clear case for the back, but it tied in quite nicely. So yeah, I'll probably write a bit of a blog post, maybe just have this with where I've cut the traces and stuff, and this, that and the other, just to make it, if you don't want to watch a video of how to do it, you can just get the images up, and I'll have the blog post in the description below. So as usual, thanks for watching, and happy hacking.